Hey everyone, Mr. Mom Collectibles. I am back with another video today, and there's something that I wanted to talk about, which seems to be the talk of the 1/6 scale community, and that is the announcement of the Hot Toys Rooted Joker. Now, I'm not going to go too far into my actual reaction to the figure. There's been so many of those videos done already. I'm more or less I've had a lot of thoughts formulated over the last couple days after seeing a lot of of the community's reactions and how things are going about with the figure, and kind of some concerns and thoughts that I have, just about the situation overall and kind of where it's going. So what I want to do is I actually want to jump in right away, and I'm going to bring up the page here, and this is the main Hot Toys page with the Joker, and obviously this was announced as of Monday. The video that I'm recording right now is Wednesday, so it's been 2 days since the announcement of this rooted hair Joker. And like I said, I mean, we can go over the I can go over the photos. I'll give you some initial feedback if you haven't watched some of the live streams I've been on, about the figure. Um, but there's other things that have been formulating, in terms of my opinion about it. So obviously, this was a shock for me. We got a lot of figures dropped, announcements on Monday. I think it was around 8, if I'm not mistaken, between the black suit Spider-Man, the Anakin Skywalker rooted, and then the Joker. Joker was definitely probably the biggest surprise out of all of them, in terms of like, first and foremost, anyone out there in the community that's been patting themselves on the back with an "I told you so," you don't really get a lot of credit for me on this, because this is something that, although it's one of those figures like, wow, it actually came about. I'm not too shocked about it, to be honest. It's something that has been talked about for quite some time. Them doing a 3.0 from the DX11, I think it is. So it's been talked about for quite some time. It's just a matter of the push, I suppose. And here we are. And it comes in two versions: the sculpted and the rooted. Like I said, my initial thoughts on the figure. I mean, it looks really. From what I see, based on the photos, it really looks great. I think I like the sculpted better. I think the rooted. I like it a lot, but it's one of those that you kind of have to see in person. I do have concerns about there being too much hair, and the hairline itself not receding as much as it should be. If you look back at videos of Heath Ledger or stills, his actual hairline was receding quite far back. His hair was thinning during the production of the movie, and so here I don't really get that feel from it, in terms of the hair, and obviously that's the caveat. And this is part of this new DX artisan series that that Hot Toys is doing. And there's been numerous streams and videos, and actually I'll put a video link in above here. You guys can check it out. That I did on the Bespin Luke, and how I don't think that's a DX. And I was one that just thought that maybe they should scrap the DX line altogether. And it looks like they're kind of taking it and revamping it. Now, is this what DX is going to be going forward, or are they going to have regular DXs? There's a lot of unknowns right now. But nevertheless, this is part of the Artisan series, and I have minimal complaints from what I'm seeing here. I think everything looks really great. Is it something that Hot Toys had to do? No, I don't think they had to do this whatsoever. I think it would have been a nicer surprise for the community if we got like a Nurse Joker or something like that. I'm gonna be honest. I kind of hope this is the last that we see of the purple coat Joker for a while. I think we've just kind of went in this circle where it's just, it's Jokers, Jokers, Jokers between Hot Toys and InArt. And I made the thumbnail, and that's kind of how I feel when I made like the thumbnail saying who's is bigger. It's kind of how I feel right now. It's kind of like, I hope that we can kind of move past this after this, and kind of get on to them doing different types of figures, and not it always being like, hey, they make this, and that kind of back and forth. As I said, Hot Toys didn't have to make this, but here we are. They made it. This is kind of is this their answer back to InArt? These are all subjective questions, to be honest with you. Nevertheless, the figure looks really good. The price point, I believe it's around the 400 mark. You get a little more than that, 400, 430, I believe is the number. Separate eye rolling system, woven hair, tailor jacket, light up base, all the accessories, and swappable. It says swappable features, separate eye rolling system, and two styles of expressions with the tongue hanging out. And for those who don't know, Heath Ledger, that was a big thing of the movie with the makeup being on his face. He would often lick lick his lips. So that became kind of like a signature expression or gesture, so to speak. And so Hot Toys attempted to capture that with the tongue, something different, whether you like it or not. Like I said, it's subjective to the collector. This is where though it was kind of like the people who were all into Hot Toys. It's kind of like now their voices were kind of spoken up. Then there was obviously the debate: which one's better, Hot Toys in art, Hot Toys in art. The rooted in art does look more accurate to me. I think that the sculpted Hot Toys looks better if I had to but once again, I mean, we have to really see what these things look like in person and to get a better feel from it. I know people were quick to judge InArt as being a fantastic figure for the first 7 or 8 months just on photos. And then, and from the feedback I've seen in the community, people are overall very happy with the InArt Joker. I've seen mixed reactions. Some people who are absolutely in love with it. It's everything they thought it was going to be. Then there's people who have it that were okay with it. They weren't thrilled by it, or they didn't think it was worth the value and what the figure was. Once again, subjective to the collector. And that's kind of where we are with this Hot Toys Joker. So the figure was announced. I'm not going to read this entire blurb. Like I said, this is stuff that's been done before. But what's interesting is Hot Toys is right off the bat established the exclusivity with the figure versus InArt not. InArt, I know, had that kind of big situation where they opened up a 48-hour window, get your pre-orders in right away, and then that was it. We're closing the window. And then that ended up not being true, where you could still get the Joker even as of right now. Hot Toys is slapping it right there in your face. It's going to be limited to 4,000 pieces in only selected markets. So they're already establishing that the exclusivity tag is already going to be there because they're telling you it's 4,000 pieces. Just like the Anakin Skywalker, it's 3,000 pieces. So they're already establishing that up front that this is going to be exclusive. Will that keep the price going up? To be honest with you, 2 days ago, when this first got announced, I definitely thought the value of this thing was going to not double, but this was going to hold value because of it being exclusive. But the problem that we're running into as of today versus Monday is the system that's going on overseas. Unlike previous exclusives, if you want to call it, where there was more chances of getting them, it seems as though they're going to some type of lottery system in Hong Kong, where kind of it's an even playing field for everybody, or at least you think that is. So the chances of getting these are actually much harder. I know a few people overseas that can get them from Hong Kong and things like that. And the problem is that you pay a premium price because you're getting it earlier, and you're locking that in versus waiting for Sideshow. Now Sideshow is going to get anywhere between, I don't know, 300, 1,000. I'm not sure what the exact number is. Even as of today, the number's thrown around in terms of how many Sideshow is going to get. And it's going to be that same system where you jump into the queue, you sit there and you wait, and you hope you get one, and you get one at retail pricing. Or if you luck out, then you go after the aftermarket. And that's kind of the problem, is that the aftermarket right now, as of today, I believe the price is around $740 for this figure right now. If you want to pre-order this thing with like Toys Wonderland, Pop Culture, the pricing is between $600 to $750. And I think that's what the problem is that it's not worth that value. If you can get the figure for $400, I would argue and say the value could be there in the figure. But the fact that the aftermarket is really driving this price up right now into the high mid 700s, it's really, I think what's going to happen is I could potentially see it crashing. I could see a spike in value and then completely seeing it bottom out because it's not worth the value. In my opinion, I don't think that this single rooted Joker is worth $700. Now, if you want to spend that money because it's guaranteeing you one, it's your money. You could do whatever you want with it. And at the end of the day, if you're satisfied and you're happy, that is all that matters. That is all that matters. If I always say you never should be someone collecting first and foremost in hopes of your stuff appreciating in value. If it happens to go up in value, that's just a plus. But for me, I collect because I want to collect first and foremost. And if my pieces happen to gain equity in value and go up, and that's just a plus. But I never collect with the purpose of, can I resell this thing and make money, or is it going to hold value? I collect because I want to collect. And yes, I've paid over before on pieces that I know I'm not gaining that value back, but I'm happy to have them in my collection. And so that's an interesting situation right now, is that if you were to go on the aftermarket in an attempt to find this figure, you're paying anywhere between 650 to $740 for this figure. And so there's a couple issues there. Number one, the collectors have to speak with their wallets. It's obvious that the collectors are willing to pay that amount of money because they are selling. Certain websites like Toys Wonderland, who I don't, who don't have the best reputation as being the most forthcoming and have practices. They were one of the first ones to put it up on their website, and I posed this on a stream. I just advise people out there, if you're pre-ordering these things from websites, and if you don't know, or like I said, it's a lottery system, so there's no guarantee of stuff. How is it that Toys Wonderland or websites like that can put these things up for pre-order and take your money in full, but yet it's a lottery system and it's not sure exactly? Because I'm in communication with one or two people that are still, currently trying to secure a lot of these figures, and there's nothing guaranteed whatsoever. So you just got to be careful when you're on the aftermarket and who you're buying from. That's all I can say. At the end of the day, everyone has to make their own sound decisions, but it's the last 2 days for me have really played out quite differently compared to Monday, where, like I said, the market value is driving this Joker up so much, most likely because those who didn't want, either people who missed out on InArt or who actually didn't want InArt and rather would have a Hot Toys version, waited and are buying that, or people who are buying both. There's definitely gonna be people out there who are buying for the sake of, they want to do a comparison. Either buy it, compare it, then sell it, take photos, take a video, do a review, and then sell it. It happens all the time. So whatever the case may be, it's driving the value up well beyond rationale, any type of rationality for this thing. Like I said, if you can get it on Sideshow for the 400, whatever it is, plus shipping and tax, I think it's like 400. It's like 400, 430 plus shipping and taxes. I mean, one could argue, is that worth the value of the figure? We have to see it in hand to find out for ourselves. But I mean, as it stands, I mean, if you're paying $750 for this Hot Toys rooted Joker, you could argue that the value is more seen in the InArt rooted 2-pack, which goes between 900 on the buy and sell trading groups, anywhere between 1100. The value might be there more, more valuable, so to speak. So it's just one of those things where the last 2 days have really interested seeing the price kind of climb and climb compared to Monday, when we didn't really have a lot of information. And now, as I'm filming this video, like I said, this Joker is holding a value of $750, and it's absolutely insane. Like I said, I just hope that the company, a lot of people talk about this whole InArt Hot Toys. I'm not really here to get into that necessarily. Like I said, there's just, at the end of the day, the collectors win because there's options for collectors. I just hope that we can kind of move on from this because, like I said, I think Hot Toys didn't have to do this, but they did. It's been an interesting dynamic in the community because the last 6 to 7, 8 months, it's been nothing but InArts and it's just a back and forth on the spectrum. I have to admit, I watched a lot of various streamers, and I kind of slowed down on watching a lot of people. But a couple of months ago, I'd watch a lot of people, see what was going on, what people were talking about, and literally everything was InArt. Every day was InArt. Whether it was in a thumbnail, spoken about, whatever it is, it was all InArt before this thing was even released. And then when it got released, whether there was good stuff, positive, negative, whatever it was InArt, Joker, 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 Joker. And now that the Hot Toys one is released, now it's kind of like those out of the woodworks want to stand up about that. And there's just a back and forth. I mean, it is what it is in the community. It's just, I watched a lot of intel from, a lot of, other YouTubers and what people had to say. And it seems like everyone is either they favored InArt, or they were kind of like, it's good for the collectors. Anyone can buy what they want. I'm not here for you to watch this. And if you don't want to watch this video, you can turn the video off by all means. I just think I'm just commenting on what I see. It's hard when you're watching a lot of streaming to get honest opinions out of people, especially when, let's be honest with you, you can look at the YouTube channels and who had John from InArt on their channel. And, and so when you have that kind of and that kind of relationship, are you going to be really truthful in speaking out about that product when you've had the representative from that company on your channel before? And I'm sure you'd want to have them back on your channel. And so, I know, and a lot of people feel if this or that excuse me, about John from InArt and his interviews, arguably that he doesn't really give a lot of sustenance to what's going on. He comes on, kind of talks, and I know for me, it doesn't really move the needle as much. I don't really watch them and get a lot of sustenance out of it where I feel confident in what's going on. Um, and just to be clear, I never thought InArt made a bad product at all. I think that their stuff is really great looking. I think the quality looks really great for what it is. But there's just been no character that I really have been decided like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna get that. Like I just, and to be fair, I pre-ordered the rooted 2-pack Joker within that 48-hour window, thinking that hey, that's what you got to do. And then I ended up actually canceling it because I wasn't as committed to it as I thought I was, because it was a FOMO. I jumped in and lost an NRD over it. And to be honest with you, it's interesting when you have the reverse effect when you are listening to it kind of beaten to death so much. I kind of got over it. I kind of got bored of InArt, and even today they still have one figure released. And so, it's just the whole thing. It's kind of like a whole back and forth with it, which is, like I said, you got to kind of sift through all the BS and come to your own conclusion. And right now, it's just an interesting one because, this Hot Toys figure has come out. It's going to be, in a new line of figures, the DX Artisan series. And I'm just concerned about how this is going to be played out going forward with Hot Toys. I don't think they're at the position where they can mass produce Rooted. They don't have a great track record of doing Rooted. I do have one of their figures, the Golden Armor Wonder Woman, which it's not that great. I have it in a good pose, so I don't really mess with the hair that often. But I'm waiting to get the Wonder Woman Rooted, which I have that on order. I hope to have that in the next few weeks. I'm kind of getting rumblings from, and that will be the first test to see how this wool hair situation goes. I don't think Hot Toys is at the level of mass producing these. I think they are going to keep them limited. I wouldn't mind it if they kind of up the numbers a little bit, like from 4,000 to 8,000, maybe 10,000, to give collectors more of a chance. I do like the idea of Hot Toys introducing a sculpted version of this, so it makes it kind of more palatable. If you can't get the Rooted, then you have the option of the sculpted. They don't have to do that with every figure, but it is nice to give people a chance to have something. So I know that if I go for the Rooted and I can't get that, at least I know I have the sculpted to fall back on. But there's other figures like the light side Anakin. It's either Rooted or nothing. So it's that level of exclusivity. And I know there's collectors in the community that want that exclusivity. And so the whole point of this video was, like I said, it's not really to comment on the figure itself. My thoughts are what they are on it. But like I said, it's just kind of giving some questions about where this is going to take us going forward. I kind of hope that Hot Toys and InArt kind of separate and go on their own paths of figures. I do know that there's still some figures in the works that both companies are still slated to make that are the same. So we are going to be having these kind of back and forth pissing matches again when it comes to the Batman, things like that. InArt's they're teasing the BVS Superman. I just hope Hot Toys doesn't do another Superman. They kind of move on from that. And so, like, as much as people want to compare them, they're two different companies. Hot Toys is putting out certain figures on a mass production scale. InArt still only has one figure out. I know they're teasing a lot of stuff, but they're very slow, and I know they're getting criticized in terms of their rate of turnout of figures. And I'm one to argue that if they're going so slow, will people lose interest in those characters, like Henry Cavill Superman? I will admit that's the first one that has my attention, is that figure. However, by the time it comes out, I might lose interest in it, and so will other people. And I know they want to do Wonder Woman, they want to do Batman from the BVS line, but will the audience's attention and care for those figures still be here when they actually get released for pre-order? It is weighted, it's time that, time will tell. But like I said, guys, I just, it's just kind of me rambling for a little bit, but I just want to, I have concerns about how this is going to be going forward. Like I said, with the way the market is trending right now for this figure as of today, and where it is going forward. And like I said, this whole kind of measuring contest between InArt and Hot Toys, I kind of hope we kind of, as collectors, can look past that. I know YouTube and people want to do a lot of stuff for views and clicks. want to like, hey, I mean, people argue, hey, you're making a video right now that should get views because you're feeding into it. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But I'm just offering my updated thoughts about this figure because I feel like every day things have kind of transpired and the situation has kind of developed a little bit from where we were Monday to where we are right now, Wednesday evening. And by the time I upload this video tomorrow, which is Thursday, another day from that, or that Thursday night, is going to be really the telltale sign, because the 28th is when this event is supposed to be going on, where orders can be placed, and we'll have a more roundabout idea about what's going on with these figures. So like I said, guys, this is just kind of a wrap up, and I'm not really ending this video with any concrete answers to anything. It's just my concerns about where we're going with this exclusivity. I don't mind exclusivity at the end of the day, but we got to be careful, because the secondary market is really going to jack these prices up, and there is some responsibility on the collectors, because if the collectors are willing to pay for it, the prices are only going to go higher. So if $750 and it's selling, if $750 is the price, the next figure could come out and the secondary market could command 800. What could a dark side Anakin root command? That could command 800, 850. Who knows? But if collectors are willing to pay for it, the price is always going to still go up. That is just what the reality is. So, like I said, guys, I'm just wrapping up my thoughts about the Joker and kind of the impact it might have on the community and going forward. um and like I said, I just want to kind of bring some light to it, and just wrap it up from there. But I really do appreciate you guys watching this video. Definitely, if you don't mind, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're interested, and leave me a comment on what you think about this whole situation. As I said, I'm trying to not to really stay within the whole debate of who's better, InArt or Hot Toys, but what are your thoughts about the exclusivity situation, and how you think this is going to impact the community going forward on exclusive figures? And where you think Hot Toys will make changes once they see the outcome, or you think they're just going to say, screw it, this is how they want to do it, and this is how it is going forward? Let me know. But until then, guys, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles. Thanks so much for tuning in. And like I said, I'll check you guys out in the next video. Thank you.